So I've been staring at crypto apps for the last 2 weeks, not because I trade, I actually don't, but because something about these apps keeps pulling people back in. When you look at the data, it's kind of wild, you know. The average app loses 77% of its users within the first 3 days. But crypto and finance apps, some of them are seeing 52% of users still active after 90 days. That's not luck, that's design doing its job. And this week, I think I found the blueprint. I'm Cam from Handheld, and every week I rank the 7 best mobile designs that I come across. And this week, all 7 are crypto apps. Now, I wasn't planning to do a full crypto episode, but as I was putting these together, I noticed something. These 7 designs from 7 different designers, they accidentally map out the exact journey someone goes on when they fall down the crypto rabbit hole. So instead of ranking them one by one, I'm going to walk you through 4 stages. And the reason I'm breaking it down this way is because these 4 stages aren't just a crypto thing. They're the same 4 emotional shifts that keep people coming back to any app. And once you see them, you'll start noticing them everywhere, in your banking app, your fitness app, even your notes app. So whether you're a designer, a founder, or just someone who's curious why you can't stop opening certain apps, stick around because by the end of this, you'll know exactly how it works. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. All right, so every product journey starts somewhere, and the data on this is actually very interesting. Apps that get users to their aha moment within the first few minutes see up to 2 times higher retention. A few minutes, that's the window. And these 2 designers understood that assignment. Justin is designing for Maybe. It's a finance tool moving into a new territory at the moment. And what he's built here is an onboarding that does something I really appreciate. It makes signing up feel like something good already happened. Most finance apps treat onboarding like a passport check, but Justin flips that. There's a silver welcome card with confetti, a profile card that makes you feel like you've already accomplished something just by showing up. And these just aren't nice visuals. There's a research behind this. Positive emotional reinforcement in the first 30 seconds directly impacts whether someone comes back. And also, I'm a sucker for these kind of details. The rounded font choices, the warmth of it doesn't just feel like a finance app, which is kind of the point. And then Heno handles the other side of stage 1, your first actual transaction. This is a confirmation screen, and I love how unremarkable it looks, and I mean that in the nicest way possible because that's the whole point. When you're about to send crypto for the first time, you're probably a little nervous. So what do you actually need? The amount, the coin, who's it going to, the fee, and to be honest, that's it. There's this nice detail where the sheet is in a solid fill as well. You can see the background peeking through beneath it. It makes the whole thing feel like it exists in layers, like the app is alive behind this moment. It's a small thing, but as a designer, it matters to me at least. So I gotta tell you what it is. So now the transaction goes through. It was easy, it wasn't scary, and now you're thinking maybe I'll try another one. And that's how it starts. 2 screens, one makes you feel welcome and one makes your first move feel safe. Nothing about either of these screams crypto bro energy. They're warm, they're clean, and ultimately they're human, which is exactly how good onboarding works. You don't sell people on the deep end, you just make the shallow end look really inviting. So that's the first thing worth stealing. Retention doesn't start with the product, it starts with how signing up feels. Get that right and people give you a chance, but getting them in the door is the easy part. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting because there's a difference between someone who has a crypto app and someone who checks a crypto app. And that shift, it usually happens on the home screen. So Catty designed something that most designers completely overlook, widgets. And I need to go on a bit of a tangent here because I feel really strongly about this one. My home screen has 6 apps and 2 widgets, that's it. Everything else lives in the app library, and I think a lot of people are similar. When Apple introduced home screen widgets with iOS 14, it fundamentally changed how people interact with apps. If your app doesn't make it to someone's home screen or widget stack, you're basically relying on them to remember you exist. And Cassie understood that. These aren't just smaller versions of the main app, they're standalone experiences, and the ARV graph, a news widget, a Bitcoin tracker, 3 different entry points, 3 different reasons to get a glance at your phone and think, oh, let me just check that real quick. And here's the thing, these widgets don't ask you to open the app, they just sit there updating, catching your eye 12, 16, 40, 50 times a day. You went from downloading the app to having a live crypto data on your home screen, and you barely notice the transition. If your app has any kind of utility that could live in a widget, build the widget, please, seriously, because your data is being consumed and the user doesn't even have to tap an icon. And while Cassie gets you glancing, Bartek gets you staring. This design uses 3 colors, 3. Black, white, green, and the green only shows up on the graph. I think that restraint is what makes it so effective here, because by stage 2, you're not looking for excitement, you're looking for control. You want to see every transaction, every movement, and every single data point. And Bartek strips everything back to exactly that. I love the thin typography. It reads clean and gives the whole thing this calm, no frills energy. We live in a world where everything jumps out at you. Pop-ups, paywalls, content at 1.5x speed. Everything is competing for attention these days. This design says no to all of that. It just shows you your numbers and gets out of the way. And that's kind of what makes it dangerous at this stage, to be honest, because a clean, calm tracker doesn't feel like an addiction. It feels like being responsible, like you're just keeping an eye on things, which is exactly what you tell yourself before you realize you've checked it 9 times today. So stage 2, right? Catty puts crypto on your home screen and Bartek makes tracking feel like a mature habit. The best hooks don't feel like hooks, they feel like good decisions. And that's the second thing. The best retention tool isn't inside your app, it's on the home screen. If your product can exist outside itself in a widget, a notification, a glanceable moment, you're not competing for attention anymore. You're just part of someone's day. But there's a difference between someone that checks an app and someone that acts in one. So this is where the journey changes. Up until now, you've been watching, checking, glancing at widgets, but stage 3 is when you stop watching and start doing. And there's exactly a fascinating stat here. Gamified crypto platforms see around 73% increase in daily active users. Design isn't just making things pretty at this stage, it's making action feel inevitable. And this tracker from Josh Grazer, who designs I love by the way, is doing something very particular to stage 3. It's making you watch your money grow. It's all laid out in this gradual hierarchy that feeds you information in the exact order you want it. What's my current APY? How does that compare to my average? What did I actually earn this month? How am I doing across the year? Each piece of information leads you to the next question, which leads you to the next answer. And Josh's color work is doing some serious heavy lifting. That light to dark green gradient, the text treatment that I think has a blend mode on it, to be honest. And his palette feels subdued, but it's actually vibrant in this really restrained way. There's a sheet in the second image with the background peeking through, similar to what Heno did earlier, but now it's showing you a yield graph that confirms your money is working while you sleep. That's the emotional shift. You're not just holding crypto anymore, you're earning from it. And Josh makes that feel good rather than stressful, which is probably why you start checking the APY chart at midnight, not because you're anxious, but because it's satisfying. And then Alexander gives you the tool to act on the confidence. Watching APY is passive, but swapping tokens, it's active. And this is where stage 3 gets real. Now I need to just say, this is gorgeous. The connection between the from and to cards is probably the best execution of this pattern that I've seen in any finance app. Like the way the gradient lightens as it connects to the front card and darkens as it flows into the to card, and it blends into the background at both ends, like value flowing from one place to another. And that's what great design does at this stage. Token swaps evolve routing, gas fee, slippage, all of it invisible here. Just 2 cards, a gradient, showing the flow and a button. It removes every reason to hesitate, and at stage 3, that's what exactly pulls you deeper. You just made your first swap. It was easy. The design made sure of it. So Josh makes growing feel satisfying, Alexander makes moving feel effortless, and just like that, you're yield farming and swapping tokens. But here's the thing, you still feel in control, and that's by design too. Third thing, and this one's subtle, design doesn't just make things easier to use. At this stage, it makes action feel inevitable. Josh and Alexander didn't add features, they removed friction, and when doing something is easier than not doing it, obviously people are going to do it. But even that isn't the final lock. There's one more stage, and honestly, this is the one I didn't expect. So here's where it all comes together. There's a research that shows when crypto platforms introduce community features, NFT ownership, and competitive elements, 52% of users are still active after 90 days. And that's because at stage 4, it's not about money anymore, it's about identity. Vlad is one of my favorite designers to feature. I'm pretty sure he comes from a graphic design background because what he does consistently is something most product designers just generally can't. Look at it, the gradient rounded font that literally glows, the sunburst rainbow background, crypto coins with hats flying through the air, even the buttons, that thick rounded typeface at a tighter height gives everything this playful bounce before you've even tapped it. You can see the widget castle in the back as well, the airdrop claiming card, all using those large border radius strokes and shadows that create genuine depth. Now, here's why this is at stage 4. Every other design this week treated crypto as a financial tool, something you use, something you check, and it's got real utility to it. Vlad's design treats crypto as an identity. You're not an investor here, you're a crypto king. You're competing in challenges, you're collecting rewards, your net worth isn't a number, it's your rank in the game. And that's the final stage of any crypto rabbit hole really. It's not about utility anymore, it's about competition, community, persona. This is where your portfolio performance becomes a personality trait, and the design earns that transformation because every single element commits fully. Nothing here is pretending to be a sensible financial tool at all. It's fun, it's loud, it's unapologetically itself. And if you're designing for gamified or social experiences, seriously, just go look at Vlad's profile. I've linked it below because this is what happens when a graphic designer brings that craft into the product, and the result is something most product designers wouldn't dare attempt. And that's the final form. You came in 3 months ago because someone at work mentioned crypto. Now you're competing in king challenges with a rainbow crown on your avatar. 4 stages, 7 designers, and 1 very well-designed rabbit hole. And that's the 4th thing. The deepest level of retention isn't utility, it's identity. When using a product stops being something you do and starts being something that you are, that's when the 52% number happens. That's when people stay for 90 days and beyond. So here's what I think is worth taking away from this. There's research showing that a 5% improvement in user retention can boost profits by 25 to 95%. That's no small number. And the way you get that 5% isn't with features, it's with how the design makes someone feel at each stage. So Justin makes signing up feel like a celebration, Heno makes the first move feel safe, Catty puts your data on the home screen, Bartek makes tracking feel responsible, Josh makes growth feel satisfying, Alexander, he makes action feel effortless, and Vlad makes it all feel like who you are. That's not 7 random designs. That's a journey, and every stage has a different emotional job. Whether you're building a crypto app or a productivity tool or a recipe app, the question isn't what features do we need, it's how should this feel at each stage. So that's design picks number 25. Congrats to Vlad, Catty, and Alexander on the podium this week. I love their designs, to be honest. And if you're building mobile apps and any of this was interesting, send it to someone who ships. I post daily design breakdowns on X, links below, and the newsletter goes deeper on each design if you want the full write-ups. And if you want to be featured, tag Handheld Design on X or submit through the newsletter. Links are all in the description. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.